Everyone, welcome to the Hall of Fame room in Shelkoff Memorial Hall and across the country and around the world on CornellBigRed.com. As today we introduce the Terry Cullen head coach of sprint football, Mr. Michael Huyghue. Before we get started, just a quick, we'll have Dr. Nikki Moore come up in just a second. At the end of the conversation, we're going to have opportunity for questions, so if anyone in the audience has questions, we'll take them at that time. I'd like to bring up Dr. Nikki Moore, the Meekum Smith Director of Athletics and Physical Education at Cornell University.
Thank you, Jeremy, and thanks so much to all of you for being here today. Another exciting moment for Cornell Athletics, and it's great to be here. So we do get to, in fact, introduce our next Terry Cullen sprint football head coach. And I'm so pleased that you all have come to celebrate this, and hello to everybody viewing online. Big Red teams are having a pretty great year, and student athletes, by the way, sorry, didn't say hi to you guys. Thank you so much for being here. Having a pretty great year, right? We've had, wrestling came in with EIWA champs and finished third in the nation. Sailing has qualified for nationals in single-handed racing and women's dinghy racing. Men's polo just came back with a national championship in Division II. We have 3 Ivy League team champions so far: women's hockey, men's hockey, and wrestling. We've had 2 Ivy League tournament qualifiers in men's basketball and field hockey. We have equestrian, IHSA regional champions. Congratulations, Joe. And both men's and women's polo USPA regional champions. We've had so on the individual side, we've had 2 national champions, 2 national players of the year, 6 first team All-America awards, 2 second team All-America awards, an assistant coach, national coach of the year in women's hockey, 2 Ivy League coaches of the year, 3 Ivy League players of the year, 2 rookies of the year. And in sprint football last fall, we had 1 All-CSFL first team honoree, 4 second team honorees, and 2 honorable mentions, as well as 23 CSFL All-Academic Team honorees. So it's a pretty good year so far. We've still got a lot to go. It does reflect the excellence, though, that we're really trying to cultivate across all of our sport programs. And as you know, Cornell Athletics has a mission to inspire transformation through athletics by pursuing our 4 priorities of winning, wellness, spirit, and leadership. And I'm so pleased that we are here to celebrate the next era of sprint football head coaching and also pursuing that mission together with Michael Huyghue. Michael Huyghue, excuse me. Let me give you a little bit of background, though, on Cornell sprint football, a little bit of brief history. First season in 1937, played under inaugural coach Alfred Wolf, and he was followed by Bob Grant in 1942. In 46, Bob Cullen came on the scene for a year. Then there were I believe 8 different coaches for the next 10 years. We're trying to not have that be the case this time around. And then Coach Cullen came back and coached for nearly 20 seasons, during which time his teams recorded 14 second or third place finishes in the league, and the teams first shared a national title in 1975. Terry Cullen, Bob's son, began serving as co-head coach in 1977, continued in that role for nearly 50 years until 2022. During that time, 5 league titles were won or shared, and sprint football was led for a season last year by Nick Quartaro, which brings us to today. In addition to titles won, hundreds of young men have been challenged, supported, mentored, and developed into outstanding people and leaders. And those men, as well as a number of women who have served as managers with the team, have become an incredible alumni group and fund this program 100% each year. And in preparing for this search, we spoke to a number of alumni, current student athletes, many of whom never expected to play a varsity sport when they came to Cornell. I have heard the common refrain sort of through that process that though I give to this particular academic college or cause here at Cornell, I would not be the person or professional that I am today if it were not for sprint football. And please be, they've heard the sort of tagline, please don't be shy to remind our folks of that. Sprint football has an outsized impact on those who participate. And it's really been our aim in this process to find a leader for the program who could both continue that positive impact while also elevating its competitive success. And as we've been searching, a special sprint football alum and supporter stepped up once again to fill a void and steward the program in the interim head coach role. Jay Carter, we owe you a ginormous debt of gratitude for your leadership. And I also include Julie, your fabulous wife, when I acknowledge the sacrifice that the two of you have made time and again at critical moments in this program. And I would ask all of us to just recognize Jay and Julie for their leadership. I also want to thank Samantha Berkery, Associate AD and Sport Administrator. Where is Sam? There you are. She has run this search with the highest degree of professionalism and drive. She has been tirelessly pursuing the very best leader for this program. And I also want to thank the search committee, Lars Gracie, Matt Coates, Melanie Hall, and Aaron Kelly, all who were critically important throughout the process of this search. Our student athlete search advisory group and our alumni search advisory group also contributed significantly to this process. And as it turns out, though we searched nationally, high and low, for qualified, inspiring candidates, the best candidate we could possibly imagine was not only within the program, but over time became an enthusiastic and committed candidate considering an acceptance of this role. Michael Huyghue, Cornell class of 1983, might just be a unicorn. Not only am I confident that he will develop strong relationships with student athletes, alumni, and staff, communicate and facilitate effectively, and lead our staff and student athletes with integrity, and pursue excellence in everything that he does, Michael brings an astonishing level of experience and expertise to this role. He was a 3-year letter winner on the Cornell heavy football team, as we call it when we're talking about sprint, playing wide receiver, catching 41 passes for 613 yards over his career. He also played baseball as a freshman. He went on to earn his JD from the University of Michigan, where he met his wife, Kimberly, who is here today. So glad you're here today, Kimberly. He's run football operations for the NFL startup, the Jacksonville Jaguars. Under the leadership of Coach Tom Coughlin, they won more in their first 5 seasons than any other new franchise in the NFL, including 2 AFC championship game appearances. He's served as the commissioner of the United Football League, has led programs to enhance belonging, well-being, and success for the NFL and the NFLPA for years. In 2021, Michael became our own Big Red Sprint Football defensive coordinator when his son, Tyler, played on our team, and he's been an assistant coach nearly ever since. He has been an alumni elected trustee. He's served in 2 visiting professor appointments with Cornell's Law School and ILR School. He is a teacher at heart. In the search, Michael distinguished himself and inspired the committee with his passion and his commitment for this program. Again, he is a teacher, a communicator, a motivator, and is a Cornellian through and through. If I could bottle up the enthusiasm I saw on the Zoom screen when we introduced or revealed the new head coach to the team last week, I might have quite a product to pitch to our Center for Entrepreneurship on campus. But Michael is joined, as I said, by his wife, Kimberly. I also understand that he has the support of their 3 kids, Kristen, Catherine, and Tyler. I am so pleased to announce to and introduce to you our new Terry Cullen, head coach of sprint football, Michael Huyghue.
Thank you, Dr. Moore and the search committee and Laura and Sam and all the folks who are involved. Obviously, Jay for the hard work that he did sitting in the interim role, and of course the dignitaries at the university. You know, I've been in probably larger press conferences than this in my career, but none of the magnitude that makes me feel as special as this does, because I'm with colleagues and people who share what to me is the most important thing that I do in my life right now, which is motivate young people on campus here at Cornell University. And so I'm really pleased to be here. I'm honored to have this responsibility to lead this Sprint football team. It wasn't something that I expected. My son played, and I think out of duty and a unique experience to work with your son, every coach would like to do that, and I had the opportunity to do that with Tyler. But then something hit me about the experience that these young men have here at Cornell. And I know it's true for me because I had the same experience. And as I think about how to motivate them, you know, I'm reminded of coaches that I worked with here on campus. And what's interesting for me is the coach who had the biggest impression on me as a student here when I was back 18, 19 years old, running around on this, well, not this field, but an older version of this field, was Richie Moran. And the interesting story about Richie Moran is I never played lacrosse. But Richie Moran took an liking to me, had me run his summer camps all 4 years that I was here at Cornell. And in my junior year, I had an injury to my knee, a meniscus tear, and we did the surgery during Thanksgiving. So it prevented me from going home, and I was in the hospital on Thanksgiving, only to receive a knock on the door unexpectedly, and there's Coach Moran. And I asked him, what is he doing there? And he starts pulling the plugs off the hospital bed and says, grab your stuff, you're coming over to my house for Thanksgiving. And that's what I did. I spent Thanksgiving at Richie Moran's house, and I wasn't even a lacrosse player. So his passing was very special to me because he was someone who had a tremendous influence on me, and that's the kind of thing that I want to give back to this university. And what bothers me is that sometimes here we think that academics and athletics have to be separate. And the experience I had, and many of you had, makes joining those two together something that gives you life skills and life lessons. And I think that's the most important thing we can do for our athletes. And so Sprint for me is maybe a challenge because we haven't reached the pinnacle. But I just need to watch the things that happen that Dr. Moore mentioned about the success traits that are already here on campus. I know there's a young man, Spencer Wertheim, who's here on the lacrosse team. Every time I say to these lacrosse kids who are in my class, great game, they say, yeah, we played hard. Never take credit for themselves. And the lacrosse team, the hockey team, all of the teams here have that special quality. And so that's the goal that I have for Sprint, to create that we concept. And we have a saying on Sprint that's called find a way. And it just means there's not always a solution to every problem. There's not always a black and white situation. It's gray oftentimes. And find a way is the message for us that says, figure it out. Do something that helps the team win, and do it to the best of your ability. So I'm excited to be here. I do want to thank my wife, Kimberly. You know, when I told her I was thinking of taking this position, it meant that I couldn't continue the sports practice that I had, and I was wondering how she was going to take that. Might have had a little bit of a financial impact. And so I asked her, I said, well, you know, honey, it's a university. It's a fun situation. And she did as she always did. She wiped out my entire website and said, let's go. And so, you know, in this world, as you know, as coaches, you have to have somebody beside you who understands and supports, and very lucky to have Kimberly. So. So I'm excited to get going. I had my first practice as head coach today with the guys, and we're going to change things. We're going to change things to do the little things better. We're going to do the things that are important to win, things that people are already doing on campus here. We're going to emulate those things, and we're going to bring victories to this university. So I'm excited to get going. Thank you.
We do have a couple minutes for questions, if there are any questions from the audience.
Michael, the Sprint alumni base is amongst the most loyal on campus of any constituency. And what do you attribute that to? And when I say loyal, I mean in terms of annual giving.
Yeah, you know, it's an interesting experience because, like myself, as a recruited player, kids that come here to play sports know that's what they're going to do. They're excited to do it. They've been doing it since they were 8 years old. And so they come here, and it's just part of a routine that they've always enjoyed and understand what that feeling of competition is. But most of our kids don't come with that background. Most of them were not recruited. Most of them, a lot of them didn't even play football. And so the experiences that they get is so unique and special to them. And it gives the joy of what I love this sport of football to these young men. And I think when they leave, it just makes them feel so good about community and that experience that they want to support the university. And I didn't play Sprint, but I got a Sprint experience, and I feel the same way. Anything else?
Guys, I can't
All right.
believe you don't have any questions.
All right.
You mentioned some of the things that you hope to change about the program. What are a few examples of those things?
Well, I mentioned little things are important, and it really starts with everybody wearing the same socks, and everybody wearing the same shoes, and everybody showing up on time, and everybody doing little things like starting on the line and going on the whistle, because you can't do big things until you master the little things. And then everybody's got to buy in. You can't have some people who are partially in and some people who are committed. You have to have everybody with one single purpose going in the same direction, and that commitment comes through, and then you get the support. The best teams that I've been around were never the most talented, but they were held together by glue, and that was the bond that each guy shared with each other. And so that's what we have to build. We have to make it fun. We have to make it exciting, but we got to outwork, outthink, out-hustle, and do those kind of things. And then if we do that, we have a chance to win.
Time for one more question. Anyone? Okay.
All right, thank you.
Everyone, thank you for joining us. The 2024 Sprint football season starts in September, and we hope that we'll see you out here for a game in Shelkoff. Thanks.